So welcome back guys, my name is Amna and in today's Make Knowledge Free campaign we continue on our video editing series. We are doing video editing using Adobe Premiere Pro, one of the most advanced softwares for doing video editing. You can very well use any other software also. The features that I am teaching should remain more or less the same because we are going about learning basic stuff. Last tutorial we learned on how we can import media onto our project. This tutorial we learn about what is the timeline and how we can drag on those media files onto the timeline. First and foremost, you need to install Adobe Premiere Pro. It's a bit expensive, so I would prefer that you download and install some cheaper program if you are just into the field of video editing. So here, Adobe Premiere Pro is getting ready, it's launching itself. It will prompt me to either open a new project or maybe open something which we have just created recently. So yes, we did in our last tutorial create this one, and as you can see we had already imported certain media files. Now why do we require this media files? Because if we didn't have the media files we would not be able to do any video editing. So it's pretty important that we first need the footages so that we can edit them, and the very simple way to do it is by just double clicking here, if you remember, and then identifying where you have your media files or your footages that you would like to edit, and then once you have tracked them down, just bring them like this, select and click open, and that's how it comes in. Okay, given the fact that you have already seen that tutorial and you are pretty much aware of how you would be importing media, the next most important thing is to understand the timeline. Now timeline is basically kind of, the movie will, or rather the media file will run for a certain time. However, it may quite happen that over the passage of time you have more than a certain media file. Maybe it's not just one, maybe it's 2, 3 combined together. Each of those media files will then have its synced audio as well. So there are various things to it. So what we will do here is we will just look into this. What I will do is I will just show you. This is basically the timeline here. So in Adobe Premiere Pro the timeline is here. Now I have imported this 3 media files. Okay, so what happens is, say this is my first file, so the first part of the footage, subsequently this one comes, subsequently this one comes. So there are 3 footages. Now I want all of them to be a part of my timeline. That is, the passage of time will be such, it will be running through this footages in such a manner that this one is followed in sequence by this, which in turn is followed by this. So let me first drag this because it's pretty important. So I dragged that. I made it a part of my timeline, and as you can see it's now a part of my timeline. If I just play this, so you can see. So this you can see is like, playing the movie file which we have just imported. It's just like demonstrating you what happens. Below the timeline you can see we have this zoom in, zoom out. You can just drag one, and what you can do is as you take it out, it basically zooms in the entire sequence. Let me do one more thing. Let me take this and let me drag this also onto the timeline. Let me do it like this. So now this is the second movie. Hopefully they are in sequence, but what I'm trying to point out is that suppose you have a camera and like it doesn't have a pause feature and you have like clicked 4 or 5 clips and something like that. What you can do is you can like bring all of them like this, and you can kind of later subsequently you can go to file and export them as media, and what happens is this all will get clubbed together. But well, the purpose of this tutorial was not to show you how to club media files. The purpose of this tutorial was to make you understand the timeline. Now you see the timeline starts from 0 minutes until 5 minutes. I have the first sequence, but until 7 minutes, as the time flows from 5 to 7, I have the second clip coming, which was not a part of my first clip. Now it's an independent second clip. But now the fact that I have brought it onto the timeline and I have ensured that it touches exactly where the first one ends, means that as soon as the first clip ends, I have the second clip, which is a part of my timeline, getting played. So this is how important the timeline is. Maybe I just show you the third clip also. So I just drag the third clip and I just make it like this. Now you may have a question as to why am I not showing it like on just one line, why am I not doing it something like this? This would be so easy to understand, isn't it? But let's understand one thing. When I actually put them on bottom separate bars like this, what happens is you can very distinctly then understand where the first video ends, and you can see this V1 stands for the first video, V2 stands for the second video, V3 for the third video. You could have very well bought them on the same line, same platform, but doing it like this, what happens is it becomes very easy to then track down each of the selected clips. The first clip has this one as the audio, second clip has this one as the audio, third clip has this one as the audio. Now when you actually like select the clips and want to do some editing effects or color effects or audio effects, it's pretty important to first track down the clip, and for purposes of that it's always good if you can have them laid out in a manner that it becomes easy to track them. A1 stands for the audio track for the first video, A2 stands for the audio track for the second video, A3 stands for the audio track for the third video. So you can see how easy it is. Say I bring them on one line, it again, this one stands for the second audio track, this one stands for the third audio track, but then it's not as neat and clean as this appearance would give. Well, not to go much into all that, the purpose of this tutorial was to make you understand what the timeline is. Timeline, like I said, is like the flow of time across your media clips which has been dragged into the timeline, and you can, like, you know, onto your timeline grab and paste certain clips which you'd be interested to make a part of your video footage, and that's how it is. Just hope that today's tutorial helps put in perspective what timeline is and how you would be using it for various video editing project of yours. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time, it's me, Amlan, signing off. Have a great day and a fantabulous weekend. Thank you.